You were about to enter Chuck versus the podcast, the place for people who love Chuck and the people who work on Chuck. The only show that takes you behind the scenes with the stars.
Yvonne Strahovski.
Zachary Levi.
Joshua Gomez.
Ryan McParland.
Adam Balda.
Sarah Lancaster.
Contests.
We are giving away a Chuck press kit.
The directors.
Jason Ensley. Norman Buckley.
The guest stars.
Steve Austin.
Kristen Group.
Conventions.
Lights come up, and here comes Jester out on stage.
Set visits.
This is the guy right here.
And much more. Are you ready? This is Gray.
This is Mel.
This is Liz.
And we want to welcome you to Chuck versus the Podcast, episode 84 for Wednesday, March 16th, 2011, one day before St. Patrick's Day. So, happy St. Patrick's Day to you tomorrow. But we have a new episode of Chuck to discuss and a cornucopia of news items, so we got to get right to it. First of all, in ratings news, Chuck versus the A-Team, actually we should call it Chuck versus Daylight Savings Times, dipped slightly to 1.6 in the 18 to 49 demo. How that breaks down, as we discussed in our Ratings and Renewal podcast last week, we did expect a drop to 1.6, and for there to be remember we talked about a core number of 5.3 million viewers, and that we did expect a little bit of a drop. Well, this 5.3 million viewers did show up at 8 o'clock. We're not sure why roughly 600,000 of them left at 8:30. But before anyone overreacts, we did tell you that, again, the drop was going to be much less than last year, which it was. In the adjusted finals, which basically average all this out, there were 4.922 million viewers. This represented only a 7% drop for daylight savings time compared to 17% last year. Also, the demo stayed at 1.6 in the finals, just as we predicted, which was only a 6% drop compared to last year's 17%. Compared to other shows on this night, Chuck dropped almost the least. Harry's Law did go up in the finals, but The Bachelor was down 15%, The Event was down 14%, Mad Love fell 13%. Compared to these, Chuck dropping only 6 or 7% doesn't seem quite as bad. Are we happy with 1.6? No. We do need to get this back up, and we do want to remind you there is some stiff competition coming with the return of Dancing with the Stars.
Remember to watch live. Tell your friends, watch live. Because we do need it to bounce back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had a pretty good response to our podcast talking about ratings and product placement and chances for renewal from last time. And a lot of people were just appreciative that we got that information out there. And there were some questions also about product placement that we're going to do our best to get the answers for and answered later. But we just wanted to thank you all for listening and for sending in your questions. If you have any more questions, feel free to send them in to mail@chuckpodcast.com, and we'll see what we can do. But in keeping with our suggestion from last time that fans support the advertisers who participate in product placement on the show, we are giving away the Blob 2 t-shirts. We have the fashion column every week, and several people inquired about the t-shirt Chuck wore to breakfast in Chuck versus the Gobbler, episode 412, that was touting THQ's new game, De Blob 2. And when we went looking for it, we discovered that the shirt is a limited edition promotional item for the game, and it's not available for purchase. But thanks to Robin, the Chuck costume designer, we were able to get in touch with THQ, and they asked if we'd like to do a t-shirt giveaway. And of course, we said yes. So this gives Chuck fans a chance to win a cool new nerd shirt. And it also gives us the opportunity to show another in-show advertiser that we appreciate their support of Chuck. So, you can enter this giveaway without buying anything. But if you have purchased or if you plan to purchase De Blob 2, it's a video game that's for your PS3, or I think it's on some other platforms too. I can't remember which all they are, but we encourage you to post a note on their Facebook wall with that information, just saying, I saw this on Chuck and I wanted to let you know that I did buy the game, or I plan to buy the game. But the entry process for the giveaway is really easy. You go to De Blob's Facebook page and like it, and then come back to CHUCKTVDOTNET and find the giveaway post. Fill out the entry form. Be sure to include your name as it appears on Facebook. That's why this is a private entry, so that you don't have to expose your name to everybody. 1 entry per person. Entries must be received by 11:59 Pacific time on Sunday, March 27th, 2011 to be eligible. And we will be choosing 20 winners. 20.
Wow.
At random from eligible entries, and we'll notify the winners via email. Yeah, THQ is giving us 20 t-shirts
Wow.
to give away. So, yeah, there's a really good chance you're going to win. There's a lot of entries already, but you still have plenty of time to enter.
Yeah, they started coming in really quick, too, as soon as that went up.
Mm-hmm. And tell me, is it available for international fans or only U.S.?
I believe it is available for international fans.
Oh, good.
Yes. So, come on, Chucksters.
Cool.
Very cool.
Well, speaking of liking a page to win something, guess what Cloud B has going on? Now, let me get my little friend. Here he is. I still got him here. You could still get your 50% discount for this little guy right here during the month of March from Cloud B. They are really excited about doing this for us. And to get the exclusive discount, just follow these simple, easy peasy steps. Go to the Facebook page for Cloud B and like them. And then comment on Cloud B's wall that you saw is the sleep sheep. I have a hard time saying it, so I just call him Al. You can have Al for your very own for 50% off. Just comment on Cloud B's wall that you saw this guy, Al, on February 21st episode of Chuck. And Cloud B will send each person who likes and leaves a comment an exclusive 50% discount code for Al to use on their website. So pretty cool. Isn't he cute? He's like the cutest thing.
Very cool.
Actually took him with us on our trip. This offer, remember, it's only good through the month of March. When March is over, so is Al. He says goodbye for 50% off, although he'll still be there for you to get. So take the opportunity right now to show Cloud B and NBC that you notice and appreciate their support and, support Chuck and all the product placement. So remember, it's a virtual part of funding for Chuck. We want advertisers and the network to know that fans will respond to that if it means that we'll get another season. So this little guy came with me this weekend. He's both adorable and soothing. Believe me, you got these little things in the back, these little buttons that you push for different, there's rainfall and there's a whale and stuff like that. It's really soothing. And it certainly helped me being away from home as often as Mel and I have been this past week or so. So if you got young ones in your life or you're lacking a good night's sleep yourself, you definitely did check out Al.
Mm-hmm. And probably not surprising to you is that Chuck made it to the Elite 8 bracket in Hulu's Best in Show competition. You can go to hulu.com/bestinShow to vote for Chuck in round 3. It's up against Modern Family, and voting in this round ends Sunday, March 20th. So get your votes in, and this is available to international fans too. One of the ways that international fans can support Chuck.
That's right. And Liz was just mentioning being away from home a lot, and I should mention why it looks completely different behind me this week. I'm in New Orleans for work, and I'm having a lot of fun here. I'm exhausted, but that's why this looks so different behind me. I'm sure someone was going to ask, so that's fine. ChuckTVDOTNET has been shortlisted for the SFX Blog Awards 2011.
Wow.
The short list is up on the SFX website now, and we have a badge, a cool little badge that they sent us that you can click on and go vote for us. We would really appreciate it if you did. That's the SFX Blog Awards 2011. We'll look for the badge on ChuckTV.net.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, we were really pleased when we got that email. And it was funny because Dave Golder emailed us. He's their online editor to let us know. And he says, okay, you're not technically a blog, but we're using the word in the loosest terms in this kind of shorthand. So, yeah. But anyway, many thanks to SFX for putting us on that list, and we hope you'll go vote for us. Tim McCoy, host of The Zone, has an awesome new interview with Vic Sahai. You'll hear insight, feel the drama, melt into the soothing sounds of Jeffster, and listen to an 80s original tune every now and then. You'll learn things about Vic you've never heard before. Prepare your ears for an adventure with the mellow Mr. Mocha and the man who puts the ester in Jeffster. Vic Sahai is on a really strange The Zone with Tim McCoy special episode. You can listen to the show at www.ppltv.net/vic.html. And, Vic's always a good interview.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely worth listening.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Speaking of Vic, I'm really excited about this news. Chuck is going to be at the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo on Saturday, March 19th. That's this coming Saturday. So here's the details on that. 6:15 to 7:15 is going to be Chuck's special video presentation and cast producer Q&A. And Chuck makes his debut at the C2E2 for Q&A and special screening of exclusive footage and a fan favorite panel.
Very cool.
Co-creator, exclusive producer, Chris Fedak. I'm really excited. I hope I get to meet him because I'm going. Chris will be there along with favorites from the cast, which include Joshua Gomez, Ryan McPartlin, Vic Sahai, and Scott Krinsky.
Very cool.
Jester will be there. I wonder what they'll do. IGN Theater, there'll be an IGN Theater room 375E. So, and then 8:15 to 9:15 is the Chuck signing in room 178A. So mark that down. Mo Ryan will be moderating the panel, and I'll be there to get the scoop. So watch out for my report a couple days after that.
Very cool. Now, when's Chuck coming to Toronto?
Yeah. Right?
Oh, great.
Toronto needs some love.
Yeah, definitely needs some love. Well, I have no idea how to segue from that to our episode discussion, so I'm just going to say we have our episode discussion now from Chuck versus the A-Team, which was a very, very packed episode featuring Robin Givens and the return of two of the Gretas, Stacy Keibler and Isaiah Mustafa. And it was a very packed episode featuring some references to the Hurt Locker. What did you guys think?
I'm glad that we got to revisit the Greta thing and find out exactly what they were doing there. We got to see Vic and Rick having, for thinking they were the A-Team and finding out they were not.
Well, they were the A-Team for a short time.
Yeah, for about, 30 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Not counting commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vicky and Ricky. I like Vicky and Ricky better.
Chuck was having too much fun with that.
Yes, indeed. He was. Poor guys. I was worried for them for a while. Like, Beckman, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I really liked that Sarah was so miffed. I mean, Chuck was miffed and Sarah was miffed. And the way, I don't know, I just like the way that they both, we've seen Chuck feeling insecure before, both professionally and personally. But I think this is the first time we've seen Sarah feel insecure professionally.
Well, and what was nice was it was motivated by different ways, so it was consistent with each of their characters. Mm-hmm. Like, she was miffed more professionally, he was miffed more personally, if you want to put it that way. But one thing I should mention is this is the official writing return of Phil Klemmer, who was on Undercovers for a little while, and now he's back, and this was his first full episode that he wrote, and this was also directed by one of the editors of Chuck, Kevin Mock, and this was his first time directing an episode of Chuck. So great job, I thought, by Kevin for a first time directing.
Yeah, props. I
mean, not that it's first time ever directing. He's directed a lot of America's Top Model before, but this was his first time, I think, doing any scripted show, so very, very good job.
And he had one with so many action sequences, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about the fight sequence between Chuck and the two intersex?
That was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the realization that they were using the same program, so neither of them could win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually some really neat stuff. I mean, I know some people had an issue with all of a sudden how easy it was to download the Intersect. I mean, I think it wasn't that easy. I mean, they had a program for several months, and we saw the Greta part of it, but that wasn't necessarily the only part of it. Where they were screening people, where they were, after screening, they were observing them and working with them. So we don't know necessarily that there wasn't a lot more to this process. Because we know originally Bryce Larkin was being set up for it. And so they've been working on this for a while. Also, the other thing about that is that, at least, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the improvements that Ellie made to the program probably helped things, wouldn't they?
I'm not really sure, because in the end, he proved that he was better because he used something non-intersect related. However, it seemed like there was a flash with information that he had that the other two didn't. You know, there towards the end.
Well, I thought the only reason for that was because he opened the bomb and he saw something that Isaiah didn't see, and so he was able to flash on the inner part of it and then improvise.
Okay. Yeah, and it was the improvisation that showed that he was the superior intersect. Mm-hmm. That he was able to do more than just be a computer. Mm-hmm. You know, he was able to bring prior knowledge into it and find another way. If you know, just knowing how to defuse a bomb is great. I mean, don't get me wrong, but
a machine can't improvise.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was reminded of Data from Star Trek. Mm-hmm. I thought, you know, Chuck was very much the Data of the group, the one who, you know, he's just, you know, basically a machine with all these emotions. When you put the emotion chip in, it made a difference. I know that's kind of funny, but it's what popped into my head when I was watching that whole sequence. I'm like, wow, it's Data.
Data with and without emotion chip.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Side by side. So it was great. I loved the comparison between, you know, Rick and Vic. Not going to be able to say that with a straight face, so just get used to it right now.
Yeah.
And you know, the comparison between them and Chuck. Wow. Impressive. I liked it. And boy, the relief they felt when the intersect was removed from both of them. What a difference.
Mm-hmm.
That goes back to season 1 and even season 2 when Chuck was desperate to get it out of his head. Mm-hmm. You know, it's reminding us that he's accepted it now, but it is still something of a burden.
And it took him a long time to figure out how to deal with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there were some really, really nice subtleties to this episode, and some things that, I mean, in a lot of ways that were you had to deal with it at some point. And I loved that way that they illustrated the A team versus the B team and why Chuck is so special. Mm-hmm. Awesome. I mean, we covered that, and also that not just anybody could do this. And also Casey's insecurities. Like, Casey also had to, like, it wasn't just Chuck that was wrestling through his place in things, but even Casey was wrestling through, in a different way, his place on the team. And so all of them, or at least Casey and Chuck especially, come through this feeling more confident about the value of the team and their place in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. Mm-hmm. I also liked that they made a point of how much the fact that Chuck and Sarah are together, that they've broken those rules, you know, that they've gone against protocol and are a couple, how much that helped them. Mm-hmm. And Sarah, you know, she kind of made a point to give him a big kiss after he saved the day in front of Vic and Rick. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I felt that was kind of a little thumbing her nose at their earlier comment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You guys will never do this. Yeah. Interesting that the intersect placed in military trained personnel makes them more robot-like than intersect in someone like Chuck, who falls into it by accident. He's just a regular Joe working at a buy more. Mm-hmm. I kind of tend to think that will always make a difference, no matter where they try and put the intersect in. You know, if they're going to use military personnel, they're going to get robots. They're not going to get Chuck.
Mm-hmm. True, because even Manouche was more emotional, more improvisational. Mm-hmm. You remember back in season 3?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the nerds.
Yep.
Revenge of the nerds, man. Now, what do you think about Casey training Morgan in the ways of torture?
You know, I'm actually really glad to see that Casey is he's training Morgan. I think that's awesome. I think it shows that he cares about Morgan. He wants him to be able to withstand whatever may come his way because he's now involved in the spy world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it can't be fun for Morgan to be going through this. Although I think on some level, he does kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's getting to live out, Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Chris Fedak, I know you guys had it up on the site, made the comments about how they're really looking at Morgan as the Chuck of season 1, that he's experiencing the spy world for the first time, and so we get to see that development into it, and it. I always love those things. I mean, I love the beginning of Spider-Man 1 when he's just experimenting with his powers, and when you have things figured out, there's less of that newness to it. I don't know.
Right.
Sounds to me like Chris was listening to our podcast a couple weeks ago.
Maybe.
Yeah. So the training of Morgan, and I don't know if he'll ever be able to, when it comes to Chuck, he withstood Chuck pretty well, but those guys know each other too well.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way that Morgan is ever going to be able to really keep anything from Chuck. It's just not going to happen.
And I think maybe not from Sarah either.
Probably not.
I think he's formed a bond with her, whether she likes it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he won't be able to keep anything from her either. But I did appreciate that Casey was training him.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Yeah.
And then we have Ellie talking 90 miles an hour when Devin gets home.
That was funny. And
yeah, telling charts and graphs for Clara.
For anybody who has gone through that, it's very true.
Yeah.
Poor Devin.
Yeah.
But then it leads to her getting, it leads to her getting the laptop back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And being motivated to get inside it, which is great.
Yeah, but I did take exception to one comment.
What's that?
I have to say, one comment that I took exception to was when she said that she was having problems with being just a stay-at-home mom. What?
Yeah, I mean, I do think we have to take that in context. I mean, this is a woman with a PhD in
and an MD
and an MD
in neurosurgery, and so she's been surrounded by real overachieving women for a long time. So for her to make that much of a leap to all of a sudden feeling kind of not on top of things when she's a person who has always been on top of things, and not being around people and not being around a whole bunch of people who respect her and that kind of thing. I think that was perhaps a little more where it came from.
Well, I get that and everything, but I don't know. I got to stand up for the stay-at-home mommers.
Yeah.
It's a hard job.
Oh,
Ellie.
yeah.
You saw how hard it was, Ellie. It's a hard job.
Yeah.
My husband keeps telling me, I've seen your job. I don't want it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, I think and I love the tactics she used with Jeff and Lester. Again, she uses her, female wiles on them to get them to cough up the computer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and one thing I had to point out, and I know it was very, very subtle, but I've really appreciated it. I know we've talked on the podcast about how if you had the ability to turn off one thing to enjoy the show more, it would be believe that they have a jet that goes Mach 20 to get around the world so fast. I love the fact that when they were getting on the plane, they made a very strong point about showing it being sunset. And then when they get off the plane, it's the morning. So they actually show you the passage of time. And so we know that they just didn't hop there and hop back.
Yeah, a little less inconsistent. So that's
a little more believable.
Yeah. So speaking of believable, the scenery for when they went to pick up the dog. What was the dog's name again?
Yana.
Yana.
Yeah, pretty well done.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was.
I don't know. Just had to say that.
Yeah.
And I got a kick out of how Chuck decided that if this individual's name was Yana, it couldn't be the wife. It had to be the mistress.
And it's a dog.
I make assumptions based on names too.
Uh-huh.
Too.
Crack me up. Oh no, they chopped her up and put her in a bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little afraid of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the realization, we're the B team.
Mm-hmm.
We can pump ourselves as much as we want, but we're the B team.
Uh-huh.
You know, the confrontation between Casey and Sarah, I really, and Casey was really trying to make her see, you know, his point, and she wouldn't let him talk. And, you know, for a moment there, I just felt so sad for Casey. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt so bad for him. And at the same time, you know, Sarah's hurt and maybe betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
By him. That was, I don't know. Did it affect you guys that way? That scene in the hallway.
I mean, I think that really, when you think about it, Casey is a colonel. He's like one of the best sharpshooters in the world, and he craves action. And he's often the guy in the van, or he's the bartender, or that kind of thing. I mean,
yeah. I mean, Director Bentley made that point when she recruited him. You're stuck doing paperwork or playing, you know, bartender.
Yeah. And he saw it. And, you know, it's funny that Sarah didn't see that. She didn't see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In her mind, he's still he's an integral part of the team. She's just not realizing that he's getting stuck.
Well, yeah. I mean, just her comment that, you know, when he said to her that, you know, you and Bartowski are a great team, and she said, yeah, but together, you know, the three of us together, we were the best. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I don't know. Yikes. I thought it was an emotional scene.
Mm-hmm.
It was. I'm glad that they had it, though. I really would have been bothered if they didn't have some kind of a Chuck or a Casey and Sarah scene, given what was going on.
Yeah.
And their relationship at this point is such that it would have been missed if it wasn't there.
Yeah. And and how nice was it that when Casey was finally in charge, like the thing that he's not in the van, he's the guy who was on the scene calling the shots. It was so nice for him to make the decision. No, Isaiah Mustafa, you stand down. I believe in Chuck more than I believe in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but interesting that he hesitated just for that moment. I thought that was interesting.
Well, I thought it was kind of showing us that he wasn't doing that based on emotion. Mm-hmm. He was doing it. He was calculating. You know, he was strategizing, and he decided Chuck was their best bet. Mm-hmm. Because he knows Chuck and he knows Captain Rick, and Chuck's the one that's going to save us from nuclear fallout.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's done it before, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how much fun! I thought Jeff and Lester were actually. This was a really nice use of their storyline with the whole ESP thing and the Sia.
No. Hello, Lester, it's right in front of your face.
What kind of name is Sia?
I know, but how did he get it?
That's disturbing.
Right?
Yeah. Well, his hair are like antenna.
Yeah.
If you look at a close up of Jeff, it really looks like he's got antenna coming out of his head.
It cracks me up that that's how Scott does his hair for this.
Oh, I know.
That's not what he, in real life, it's not, he doesn't have a little fro in real life.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I just think it's amazing that he actually got it, though.
I know.
Yeah.
Amazing and disturbing.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Lester doesn't get it.
Yeah.
No.
Well.
So then we have the Hurt Locker bomb suit first, and him looking like a Pillsbury Doughboy walking in it. I didn't see the Hurt Locker, but I'm gathering that was an inside thing.
I didn't see it either, so I don't get that. But I did get the Stay Puff Man. Chuck looking like the Stay Puff. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And the apple juice.
I got such a kick out of Casey giving him his juice box.
Yeah.
That was really cute. But in the end, it saved the day. But I just thought that was adorable.
Yeah.
I had a feeling it was going to come into play. They put too much attention on it.
Yeah.
So I kind of had that one figured out. Sorry, guys, you didn't fool me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For once.
I'd actually seen the comment on Twitter about it, so I knew it was coming too. But
yeah.
I'd like to think I would have figured it out myself.
Yeah. I'm usually the one in the dark. So
now,
I feel pretty good about myself right now.
Now, what do you make of Robin Givens at the end giving Ellie the laptop and what's going to come of that?
What was that?
I'm excited about it, to be honest. I didn't want Robin Givens to be done yet. I didn't want it to give up that easily. And for her to be drawing Ellie into it just adds a level of menace to her character that I really like. She has no problem using whoever she can to accomplish her goal. Mm-hmm. Although I'm not quite sure what her goal is. Is it to create an intersect army?
Well, now one thing that threw me a little, I'm sure you guys caught this, is it was a very interesting choice that they used the Ring music for her.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't catch that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I didn't identify it as Ring music, but it was definitely villain music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah. So, is she a turncoat? Is she rogue? She can't be rogue because she is actually part of the Greta. She seems to be active in the CIA working, or the NSA. Crap.
Mm-hmm.
What is she with? NSA, yeah. No, she's CIA.
No.
She's NDC. She's in the National NCD. NCS. National Clandestine Service.
That's it.
CIA.
And somebody was going to correct us with, like, I could just feel as you were saying that somebody's paws were on the Twitter ready to correct us.
I got it.
And you don't have to correct us.
Right. Get it out.
That's funny.
If only Jeff had been here to scribble.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what we needed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she wasn't rogue, but maybe now she is. Or
double agent.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep getting this feeling that she's connected to Volkov somehow.
It could be. And
Wolf is not dead.
I think that's about it for the episode, right? Except for the preview of next week,
which I didn't see because I had to watch it online.
Yeah,
oh,
same here.
Well, the preview of next week, it's I guess we usually can discuss freely the preview for next week, and this is not really spoilers, but it's an episode where it's the whodunit.
Right.
And very, very interestingly, this is right at the position in the season that last year's bottle episode was. And by bottle episode, Scott Rosenbaum explained that it's an episode where they only use their existing sets. They don't go out on location or don't go on location as much. And they've explained with bottle episodes, when all the action is confined to, in this case, the Bymoran Castle, that they have to put a lot more writing effort into it. And what ends up happening is that the bottle episodes are some of the strongest episodes. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, me too.
I am too. I'm a huge mystery buff, so
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
We'll have more on that in the spoiler section.
Yep. So that's it for Chuck versus the A-Team. We give it 3 thumbs up, I think.
Yep.
1 each, right?
Yeah, 1 each.
I have 2, so we can do
6 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was a packed episode. It covered a lot of ground. Great first outing for Kevin Mock as a director, and I thought Phil Klemmer, glad to have him back. So
Yes.
very, very
Welcome back, Phil.
welcome back, Phil.
You still have the prettiest hair on the writing staff.
Yeah. And so as we've done the last few weeks, because you've had the helpful corner giving you all of the information you need, we won't do our old conclusion, but we'll go right into the sponsors, thanking our sponsors, and then after that, the spoilers. So as we discussed last time, leave your headphones in and watch the sponsor messages because they help support us, and we are grateful for that. And then after that, if you don't want to hear spoilers, you can pull your headphones out or press stop. But make sure to watch Chuck live on Monday night and be a part of the Chuck live chat if you can type and watch at the same time. I can't, I'm sorry, but if you can, all power to you. And let's make sure that 1.6 is something that we never see again, but that it's 1.7 or higher. Hey, we'd love 1.9.
Yes, we would.
Yeah, or 2.0, that'd be great too. But till next time, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And now we want to thank our sponsors, IELabs.com, makers of award-winning Action Blue AVC HD conversion software, which authors full HD videos on regular DVD discs. It even works with HD clips from the newest iPhone 4. You can get your free trial of the software at IELabs.com. We also want to thank MovieMorons.com for supporting Chuck versus the podcast. Movie Morons is a podcast all about film. So if you are inclined to find out what movies you should be watching this fall, check out MovieMorons.com. And SerienJunkies.de. We want to thank them for supporting us as well.
Hello, this is Christina Caramel from Serienjunkies TV. Are you addicted to TV shows? Be our guests and learn the latest news and reflections on what's going on in the world of TV series. Well, our show is in German, but maybe you want to drop in anyway? Then visit www.serienjunkies.de and watch out for our video podcast. See you.
Spoiler warning. And we're back. Mel, what have you got for us?
We have the official synopsis for next week's episode, Chuck versus the Murder. Which airs Monday, March 21st. When a spy is murdered in Castle, it's up to Chuck to figure out who done it. Robin Givens is back. Chuck is put in charge of a top priority mission, but his leadership skills are pushed to the limit when there is a murder in Castle. Meanwhile, Awesome takes on a mission of his own when Ellie finds an alarming new hobby. I think we know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Elsewhere, Morgan's leadership is also tested when his Buy More troops wage war against Large Mart.
Oh, boy.
Yvonne Strahovski. Oops, I just scrolled it right down. Yvonne Strahovski, Scott Krinsky, Vic Sahai, Mark Christopher Lawrence, and Benita Federici also star. Some people were a little worried because it didn't say anywhere in here that Adam Baldwin was around, but as we saw from the preview, he is.
He is. Yeah. Oh, and one thing we forgot to discuss, and so only the spoiler people are getting this. We forgot to mention in the discussion of the episode that Chuck is now in charge of the Intersect Project, which probably is a little bit of what's being talked about in this, where he has extra responsibilities and he's tested.
Mm-hmm. Good. It's kind of a promotion for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. Well, speaking of next week's episode, we have a little more intel on that from EW.com. They say we've always wanted to do, well, actually, it's Chris Fedak talking to them. He says, we've always wanted to do a murder mystery, so we're working on an episode right now where something terrible happens to someone down in Castle, and Chuck and company are given the Sherlockian job of figuring out who the murderer is. So he says, we're working on our own spy version of a chamber piece. While this is going on in Castle, Fedak said that upstairs Buy More would be experiencing a big crazy story of their own. We're having a lot of fun with that one right now. I cannot wait to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's going to be insane.
And if you remember last time, it was the Fortunate Son, the Last Stand and stuff, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
Now, there's a rumor that part of this is going to be in black and white.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
EW suggested it, and Fedak said, well, the entire episode's not going to be in black and white. And then I can't remember another source another source quoted him as saying that maybe part of it would be, and I cannot remember where that was. But it's possible.
Well, we'll see. Should be interesting. And say it again, bottle episode usually means real good bottle.
Yeah.
So, and also from TV Line, there was a question posed. Any word on a renewal for Chuck yet? I hope to God that it comes back next season. Arcana. And Osiello said, let's put it this way. Boss men Josh Schwartz and Chris Fedak are in no way, shape, or form being subtle about expressing to NBC their expectation that the show will return. How unsubtle? The title of the May 16th season finale is Chuck versus the Cliffhanger.
Those guys.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And you know that's going to be something literal, right?
Yeah.
So what if our last shot of season 4 actually is one of our heroes hanging off a cliff?
Uh-huh.
Yikes.
And if that's the wedding episode too.
Oh boy.
Just, everybody be current on your medications. That's what I'm saying. Maybe pop a Bayer before you start watching.
Uh-huh.
Just as a precaution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, we also have more from EW.com, and Lori writes in, what's Morgan going to be up to on Chuck? And they respond, well, if you watch Monday night's episode, you saw that Morgan stepped up to protect John Casey's secret second assignment with the Gretas, who are no more. But according to Chris Fedak, oh my gosh, I keep scrolling down to read this, and it just goes all the way to the bottom of the page. According to Chris Fedak, that somewhat speaks to the relationship the writers are building between the two, Casey and Morgan. To quote Fedak, we have some really funny stuff coming up in regard to the odd couple that is Morgan Grimes and Colonel John Casey. It's a peculiar decision to decide to room with your girlfriend's dad, but they're also very good friends, and Morgan needed a place to crash. Going forward, we really like the idea of Morgan as Chuck Season 1, the guy who's experiencing the spy world anew, fresh. We have some really interesting ideas about where we're going with him in this season and how it all folds back to John Casey and his girlfriend Alex. And if things get out of hand, it's good to know that Sarah always has her trank gun.
Uh-huh.
Indeed. Well, and finally, E! Online has some very interesting Chuck tidbit in their spoiler chat. They were asked by fan Sadie. Sadie's very simple and to the point. All she says is, Chuck! So E! Online says, well, Sarah's bachelorette party will feature a male stripper disguised as enemy commando. Wackiness ensues. Also, ew.
Yeah. I can't figure out if they mean that the stripper's disguised as an enemy commando, or it's an enemy commando disguised as a stripper. Don't you think that makes more sense?
That makes more sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
We'll see.
We hope.
Either way, somebody's commando.
Yeah.
Just hope nobody's stripping.
Yeah.
No stripping.
Yeah.
Some people have speculated that this involves Jeff. Please, God, no.
Oh, please no.
Oh no.
I've seen more of him than I need to.
Yeah, definitely. And so that's all we have for the spoilers. Well, hey, that was a lot of spoilers.
Yeah.
So that's all we have for this week. And next week, we have a very, very cool episode. And then after that, another break. But we will be back next week. And so we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye, Texters.
Bye-bye.